On this episode of Grassroots Garage, we're at Warspeed. Troy Worsley has been involved in building race engines for over 25 years. After working for other people, Warspeed is his opportunity to build engines to his specifications. Of course, breakages happen over 1,000 horsepower, but when you build it right the first time, it means he doesn't get to catch up with customers nearly as often as he'd like, which is good for them because it means their engines are copping a flogging session after session and not breaking. The engine room at Warspeed is exactly what you'd expect, clean and organised. Troy has all the attention to detail that is required when building high horsepower engines, as one mistake can mean a complete teardown and rebuild.
Welcome to Grassroots Garage. We're down at Warspeed. This place is amazing. You're going to love it. Troy's the owner. Troy, thanks for your time, man.
No worries, thank you. Thanks for coming.
Tell us about your workshop.
Yeah, workshop's been here 3.5 years. We started, I guess, this venture full time back in 2016. I've been doing the engine industry since 1995. Worked for other shops and private race teams and stuff like that. But yeah, 2016 I grew a set of balls and yeah, threw it online, had a go, and you know, life was good. I'd always look for excuses not to do it. But it was probably just, maybe my headspace wasn't there right. I wouldn't know how to deal with customers or anything like that. 16, I grew a set, had a go, said to my dad, can I use a bit of your workspace? And yeah, we tripled our workload in the first 12 months. So I sort of didn't want to tread on his toes anymore. Moved in here. Bought the factory last year. Now I'll buy another one next door. So as you can see, I'm running out of room.
Yeah.
But yeah, love it. It's all I know. I probably wouldn't get a job at Bunnings packing shelves because I don't know anything else other than this.
Engines, man. I love it. So just start with me here. What am I looking at on this wall here? This is like the wall of like good memories, is it?
Yeah, I guess that's the some of the mills of the month we had. I reckon that would have been the first one.
Okay.
Yeah, that would have been our first one. And then it's just rolled on, and I look back now at the first one, I'm like, shit, we've upped our presentation. More and more from that. There's shops that'll chase the last tenth of a horsepower, and there's other shops that'll do other things. But I like to give the guy what he needs, but also make sure they leave here presented nicely. Like I've come from a marine background where you don't have a bonnet to close to hide your engine, so the engine has to look good because that's what everyone's looking at a boat is the engine. So I want that in the car scene, that your engine looks as good that you could drive around with no bonnet.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
All right, so and then you walk in and we're looking at, what am I looking at on the grain here? Just run me down.
They're pretty much in order, ready to start putting together. So they've all come back from my preferred machine shop.
Yep.
They've still got about there's probably 20 or 30 blocks still at machine shops at the moment being machined.
Yep.
So yeah, they're just slowly in line, ready to start making their way to get washed and cleaned and in the room and start playing.
So what's this straight 6 here, is it?
So yeah, that's a Mercedes. There's a couple of 308s down there.
308s here, yeah.
First two, there's a cast iron 6-litre LS.
Yeah.
It's a Mercedes, Cleveland.
Yeah.
5.7 LS, which is my own engine.
Yeah.
Which will be a 5.2 litre. And then there's a Dart LS engine.
Yeah.
Like 388 cuber, sorry. 427 cube Dart. And then that'll be 440 cuber, sorry.
Yeah.
And then a 6-litre LS combo. Yeah.
So this is the aluminium 5.7.
7, yep.
That's the cast.
That's the cast iron 6-litre truck block.
Truck block, and they love the truck block when they're boosting them. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yep. Okay. They're a killer block.
Right.
There's actually one right there that's.
This is one here. Let's go
look at it.
That's
a 5.3 that we've converted to 5.7. So we bored it out to suit 5.7 bore size.
Beautiful.
Because they don't make a 5.7 cast iron block from the factory.
Right, so they've all been bored.
So 5.3 or 6-litre is your two options from factory.
Got it,
yeah.
Yeah. So why didn't he want to go to 6-litre? He just wanted.
He had a 5.7 engine already, and the guy driving it went from first to reverse.
Classic.
So it broke the block in half on the bell housing mounts. So he already had rods and pistons and stuff already. So we're just going to roll all that stuff into the new cast iron block.
Yeah. So if I was looking at a aluminium versus a cast iron, what would I notice? That just literally the material.
Material obviously all cast iron, no liners. So the bore is cast iron. Whereas when you look back at the yellow one, you can see it.
Yeah. So that's because it's too soft and it just scores?
Correct, yeah. So it has to be a cast iron material. So this will be a little NA engine. So it's actually going to be a de-stroked 5.7 back to 5.2 litre.
Nice.
I'm building a bit of a hybrid engine purely just because I wanted to.
Why not,
Yeah,
man?
so it'd be a 5.7 block with 4.8 litre cream and a set of 6.2 heads with trumpet injection on it. So all the revs, I want to try and sort of hit like 85, 9 grand out of it.
Ooh,
So,
yes. What's
yeah.
the red line from the factory?
Probably 5,600 or something. Yeah.
So you're spinning a lot of metal, right? Like, yeah.
We done a development engine for a circuit boat in under 5.2 litre. It was a very basic engine and it really showed good potential.
Water lines and everything like that's all the same between the two?
Yep.
All flows
So
the
these were in a
same.
truck. So
Yes.
so even when we get the blocks here, they don't have the alternator bolt holes here. So they're missing one there and they're missing another one here.
So you've got to drill them in? What do you do?
So we drill this one. We've got a jig that we made up. We drill and tap them.
Yeah.
This one we can't do anything about it because there's no material there because the trucks are in a high mount alternator, not low mount.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, so they're a good upgrade. They're
Okay.
for that guy chasing 1,000. Yeah, we got some making 1,500 with them. But that's probably the limit. I wouldn't go much further than that.
See all these water lines here, right?
Yep.
And you look at this one here, just looking straight at it. There's just a quarter of the amount of lines. Is this
Correct. That's a Dart Race LS engine.
Yep.
So they've improved the strength in the block because generally having your water jacket that will run around here means you've got areas to fail. And being you guys do a bit of jack stuff, you would hear of guys with Subarus and stuff where they close deck the block. This is somewhat closed decked in a way from the factory, as opposed to an LS is an open deck, semi-open deck block.
Sick.
So that's done for strength reasons, just to purely support the top of the bore up here.
So if you then run like an oil cooler and you just like get a really big radiator, you can sort of manage.
Yeah, I mean, we've done some where we've actually closed decked the blocks off completely, and then closed decked the cylinder head. So if you're at the track and you're pumping a massive amount of boost in it, because the first thing that's going to make you crash your car is if you lift the heads and it dumps water and hits the tyres, that's going to put you into the wall.
Put you in the wall.
So by doing a closed deck system, and what we've done in the past by completely closed decking the head and closed decking the block and then running water in and out without actually travelling through the two surfaces, it means that lift the head, all it's going to do is lose a bit of compression, but it's not going to dump any water, so then you're not going to crash the car.
And you're not doing 30 happy laps at Power Cruise.
Nah, you're doing 6 seconds, back off. Cool it down for 2 hours and go again.
I mean, if you're running methanol again, you're running cold, aren't you?
Yeah.
We're just turning the corner, and you turn the corner. This is sort of like the assembly room.
This is a strip area, so this is my dirty area.
Okay. Yep. Oh, look, there's another area around there where Mark's doing some filming. Hello, Mark. He's in heaven over here. He'll start asking you about 4AGEs in a minute.
So this is an R6 Nascar engine. There's 2 engines in the country, and we have both of them. So
what is it? So it's
a Dodge.
A Dodge.
Yep.
What's its literage?
So 6 litre.
A 6 litre.
Yeah. So we're just doing some upgrades to it now. It made 870 horsepower natural aspirator, single carburetor.
Yes.
And now we're going to try and chase close to the 1,000 mark with it.
So is this the peak of do you like working on these specialty one-offs?
This is a very, very high-end engine to work on, yeah. So what we're looking at is, the best of the best at the time, and it still holds itself now. So that was an 08 model motor, but it still holds itself nowadays to being, one of the best 6-litre pushrod engines you'll ever get.
Wow. Okay. In terms of design, materials,
cylinder head, airflow, just what's involved, what's inside the engine is just next level stuff.
Sick. Have you got the heads floating?
The heads are upstairs, which I'll take you upstairs.
Sick.
Yeah.
So, I'm fascinated by that.
So we've got to do, as you can see, that's the piston there. That's the original piston out of it. We took a moulding of the combustion chamber and we sent it to CP, and then this is basically a dummy piston for us to start shaping it. And obviously it's very hard to get compression. We've got small cylinder heads on, we've got everything. So they've ref the lump up high, and then we've got to hand shape this back to where we can leave this pocket as tall as it can for the piston valve clearance, and as close as it can be to the combustion chamber and the cylinder head, and hand shape it, then send it back, then they'll digitize it, and then send me the piston. So it's quite a lengthy process, because I can't just ring up and say, hey, I've got an LS here, I need a set of pistons for it. It's so unique that everything has to be done, so slowly. So
that's crazy.
So it's a you can see how close this one's been running. Like that's the valve just rubbing on it, and that's how close it is to on the fine line.
Tolerances are right on.
So
that's sick.
Yeah.
So anything out of here off the Dodge like assembly line, or it's all sort of custom?
It has to be in way a factory block, but you would never see this in a car.
All right, sick, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So this is the disassembly area, which is pretty clean and tidy. All right, take me to the. Let's go around the corner. So
what's my cranky area?
This is it.
Yep.
So all the different. What am I just pointing a couple
so we got
SR20.
SR20.
Yep.
LS. LS, big block Mopar,
Yeah.
LS, LSA,
Oh, yeah.
308. That's the Nascar engine.
Yes.
So you can see it's
I was
quite
going to
nicely
say that this
finished
one's
and-
different to the others, right? Like
Yep.
it sort of looks a bit. See these things here on the front end? This is where you balance them?
So that's called Mallory metal. So that's the heaviest metal in the world.
Okay.
So it's because you're balancing a crankshaft, and you may want to remove metal from here,
Yes.
but there's nowhere to remove it.
No.
So the only way to counteract it is to add metal to the opposite side.
Got ya.
Yeah, so that's why, and it's an expensive process.
Yeah.
But when you feel the weight of it, it's so dense that it's actually about 5 times heavier than what cast iron would be.
Okay.
So, but you have to remember, you're removing metal to add metal.
Yes.
So you've got to do your calculations right to work out what you're going to remove from there.
Mm-hmm.
So say you had to counteract, say it told you wanted 40 grams removed from this side, but you couldn't, so you had to add 40 grams of there. Really, you're going to add like 100 grams because you're going to take away metal to add metal. So it's quite a, you got to be switched on to do it.
I bet. So have you got a guy for that?
Yeah, so I use Jenkins at Penrith.
Nice, yeah.
James does all my bottom end machining for me.
Yeah, and he's just got a machine that spins them and says, do this.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So you input it all in, and as I say, because I'm an engine conditioner, like I know how to use the machines.
Yeah.
But it's hard because if I'm using a machine, I'm not putting an engine together. So I do enough to get me out of trouble, and the rest of I'd rather get him to do it for me because I trust him 100%.
Yeah. So what's that one there? This real shiny one?
This one.
Yeah.
So this is an LS. This is out of a drag car that I do up in Queensland.
Yeah.
So it makes 24.50 at the hubs.
Yeah.
So about 28.30 at the flywheel. Out of a 429 cuber. So, but it cracked. It had a set of pistons. It was a combination that was already built, and we took it over.
Yeah.
And we turned it up a little bit more, but the pistons that were already in it when we took it over just weren't up to scratch. And they were what you call a 2,000 horsepower rated piston. And we started making like over 2,800. So it cracked all 8 pistons. So I'm just waiting for CP to make me a set at the moment in America. We should have them in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Thankfully, the latest Kenda round's been cancelled, so I've got a bit of time up my sleeve now to get it back together, and we're going to try and chase sort of 3,000 at the flywheel, so sort of 26 at the hubs.
So why is it so shiny? Why is
It's been surface finished.
Okay.
Yeah. So the oil will just run off it.
Beautiful. I get. Yeah.
So it's a
So as opposed to this one here, where it's going to get coated, will that affect the balance of it?
No. So it's obviously it's balanced to suit, but it's just a surface finish, so it takes all the roughness away from it.
Yeah.
So where there's no roughness, there's less chance of cracking.
Yeah. So is that a hand job?
No, so they've got machines that do it. So there is a mob down in Melbourne that does them. There's a couple of guys in Melbourne actually.
Alright.
And we just sent some cranks down to another engine builder that's got a small little tub of his own that does them. They come back pretty good. Like it's a nice finish.
That makes sense. I get that. Yeah, cool.
So, and that's got a Torrington bearing on the front of it for the.
What? Sorry.
A Torrington bearing for the thrust.
Okay.
So the biggest issue with, I guess, 5 years ago, the ultimate goal was 500 horsepower about most stuff.
Yeah.
But nowadays we're seeing everyone wants the minimum of that 1,000 horsepower number. And what's happening is that the gearboxes have to then survive as well. So to make the gearbox survive, they're putting more and more pressure into the gearboxes, which is then pushing the crankshaft forward. And the crankshaft then eats the thrust bearing, which would normally be here, and destroys the engine. So we put a Torrington bearing in there, this is a one-piece one, but we have 3-piece ones. And that way, what it will do is that will rub on the block before it actually rubs your normal like your Babbitt material bearing.
Sick.
So you don't destroy the crankshaft, you don't destroy your bearing, and it rubs on the Torrington, and away you go.
Yeah.
So,
but if you get a factory truck block, rebuild it, throw a turbo on it, and you don't have that,
it'll work if the right guy building the gearbox. So there's guys out there that know how to put dump lines on the converter pressure so that it will dump the pressure before hitting the converter. So it maintains the pressure in the gearbox, but it doesn't transfer it into the converter, and they know how to do it to look after it.
Have you been in here, Mark? Have you come and had a look? Yeah, he's had a look.
That's a 6-litre LS alcohol engine. It was actually going to be my own engine. I don't know what I was going to do with it, but I just had been accruing parts, and one of my good customers talked me into selling it to him. It's on its way to Queensland. I'll put on a crate on Friday and send it up there. So 6-litre base. Big compression, like close to 14:1 compression. Put on alcohol and put in a sort of a power cruise car, bit of drag race, a bit of everything. They seem to get a lot more opportunity in Queensland to go out all the time. They go to Lakeside doing drag racing, they can go roll racing, they can go wherever and whenever they want. It'll be a bit of everything. So it's going in like I think it's going in a HT.
Sick, man.
So it'd be pretty cool.
Love those colours too, eh?
Yeah, it's something different. So the original theory of the green was because of my logo with the green, the white and the black. So that was why I had all the green done, but now we're starting to get a lot of people actually wanting the green.
For their own cars.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So that's Coyote going together under there.
Oh yeah.
going into a car that I'm not allowed to say what car it is, but
Nice. I love secrets.
nope.
Love secrets.
No. Yeah, it'll get all revealed very soon.
Sick.
So he's getting big turbo put on it, and that's basically a sort of a demo engine, like a trial engine, to make sure it's all going to work. Do some laps on it, and then we'll start building him a big sleeved block and stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah, they're okay. I'm not a fan of them. They do need a lot of, when you want to start pushing big power, when you look in, say, comparison to the sleeve that you saw around the 5.7, as opposed to how thin this one is.
Yeah, I can see that.
So
absolutely.
there's nothing there of it. So when you start making like 1,000, 1,500 or more, they need to have a sleeve, like a dart and sleeve liner put into them and bits and pieces. So we'll do that with his next engine.
Okay.
But we'll get this one up and running, and yeah, it'll still run a 7, I'd say.
Nice.
Yeah, in the car that it's in. So
beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, what's this one?
383 Cuba going into a Tirana.
Oh yes, nice.
A guy called Lee Murray. He's built a few cars. This is his latest car he's building. So yeah, it'll be a nice little thing. We're just waiting on a manifold to come from Sean, so it's got a cross ram billet throttle body manifold for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's it'll be a nice bit of gear.
Beautiful.
Yeah, 427 heading up to Spot On in Queensland.
Yeah.
I built the engine for a guy in where is he? Mount Isa. So, but he's getting the car built at Spot On. So we're just waiting on the billet dry sump pan and a couple other bits come from my mate at Velocity. And once that's here, then we'll finish putting it together.
Beautiful.
Yeah, this one's a 440 Cuba.
So this is just starting. This
just came in the room. Yep.
Beautiful.
Yep. So we washed this one up, brought it in here. So this is a Dart 427 cube. It's going to get a set of Nathan Higgins LS7 base cylinder heads on it, and it's getting a Harriet 2650 with a 110mm throttle body. So nice cruise. It's going in an LJ Tirana, so it's going to be out of control because it should be making like 950 at the rear wheels on pump fuel. So it'll be a killer car.
That's sick.
So it's all laid out there, ready to go.
So this is everything here.
So Kelly's crank, Oliver rods, CP pistons, Corral lifters, and all good stuff for it. Yeah.
So this is what it's all about, right? Where you get all the good bits and you get to then assemble.
I'm lucky. I don't play with, I guess in the nice way, Paul, I don't play with much shit.
Yes.
I'm sort of, a lot of my stuff is brand new. It's going to end. It's eventually going to be a time where I'm going to start rebuilding all my engines I've been building for the last 4 years. Yeah. But at the moment we're lucky that nearly 90% of our work is brand new engines.
Nice.
So
I love that, man.
it's good. So
sick.
Yeah, and this is a little 365.
Yes.
Cube. So that's the factory truck block, so the LY6 truck block.
Yeah.
And obviously the Dart comparison. But you could have both engines exactly the same cubes without knowing the difference, other than just the structure of it. So these engines, you can access the lifters with the heads on, whereas an normal LS you can't. Normal LS you have to pull the heads off to get to the lifters.
Yep.
So they've done some improvements there. It's got 6 bolts, so there's an extra bolt hole here.
Yes.
And there's an extra bolt hole there.
Yep.
Whereas you'll see on here, it doesn't have it.
Yes.
So it's missing there and it's missing there.
And that was obviously an Achilles heel for the engine, was it?
Yeah, so this fixes it where it means you have a 6 bolt set of cylinder heads, it means you've got more clamping force here and here. So a traditional small block Chev will have 6 bolts per cylinder, whereas the LSs traditionally only have the 4. So it's the upgrade from pushing more power.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
that's awesome.
yeah.
Love that.
Yep.
Sick, man. So what am I looking at here? So what's all this?
Yeah, so that's a set of boost line rods, CP pistons. This one running a factory 6-litre crank in it.
Yeah.
So it'll be 365 Cuba. He's got some turbos on it. It's twin turbo. But it'll be like a 800-ish horsepower rear wheel.
Yes.
So the cranks are good for that. They support that well.
So this is welded here.
So we weld the reluctor wheels on. So that's your timing control.
Okay.
So because an LS doesn't run a distributor, it runs crank angle sensor and cam angle sensor, the reluctor wheels are a press-on fit. But the issue we have found is that they can spin loose.
Yes.
And then your timing goes out of control, then you either detonate an engine or you've got a pig of an engine. So we weld all those on to prevent it.
And then you've got to balance them.
Yeah, so
after
it's
that.
Yep. So it's a lengthy process because, as you can see, this one's had Mallory put in it, top and bottom, because they're heavy rods.
Yeah.
So we've had to add Mallory to it. So this reluctor wheel can be on or off 3 or 4 times before it actually stays on for the final time, because you can't. A lot of people will bore through the reluctor wheel. We choose not to bore through the reluctor wheel because you're weakening it then. So yeah, it's a slow old process when you're putting it in.
Yeah, but do it right the first time.
But yeah, do it once, do it right. Yeah.
Sick, man. Yeah.
So this is obviously where I do all my cylinder heads, and then we keep a lot of our stock that we sell out the door under our war parts banner as well.
All right, point at them and say, what's this? What's this?
Okay, so 2J, LS, 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 LS. The Coyote heads, another set of LS. So you can see how big they are in relation to an LS. So when you look at the block downstairs, it's smaller than an LS, but then it gets elephant with
Right.
these massive heads on top because of
Right.
the 4-valve, quad cam, all that sort of stuff. So,
Yeah, isn't it funny that? Yeah.
yeah. So 308 Holden or VNVT Holden heads.
Yeah.
Another set of LS. There's SR20 hidden in there.
Yep.
There's another new SR20 core over there. That's the engine I was saying had a cracked cylinder head. That's the crack running straight through the straight through there.
So that's all it takes to be blown white
Yep.
smoke.
So this is like I was saying with a closed deck. We've closed deck this whole head off, so you can see there's no water jackets anywhere. And on the dyno they started making water. I said it physically can't get water in a cylinder because we've got closed deck block and we had a full concrete block. So I said we've got an issue. We've got a cracked head. And sure enough they pulled it off. And this thing's only done about 10 passes. And the company. So I don't want to ditch the company, but the company is warranting the head. They're giving them another brand new head for free. So they said that should not have happened, and they're warranting it. So
It's crazy that hairline crack.
Yeah,
You think
yeah.
it'd be fine, right?
yeah, no, but it was pouring water into it.
No, because normally when you see like people take photos of the gore.
Yeah,
Of the
I
whole-
can show you.
Yeah.
I'll show you gore. Yeah,
You've got like your wall of gore.
Yeah, they're all new LS heads back from Nathan Higgins. They've had a CNC port program put through them. Yeah.
So he's got a jig that just bolts them down, and then just the CNC machine.
Port program from
Beautiful. So gone are the days of sitting there
hand
with your Dremel
drawing.
and
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. We used to do a lot of that, and I've still got my porting bench set up over there. I've still got my flow bench downstairs and stuff. But my shoulders can't take it anymore, and the time just outweighs it. Like for the odd stuff. Like my little Corolla, like that took me about 50 hours to do the head work on that.
Sick.
And
Have
how
you
could
got
I
photos?
justify
Tell me your
50?
photos.
Well, we actually did some. Yeah, I do on my phone, and
Sick.
we changed the combustion chamber shape to an LS combustion chamber. So we welded it, moved things around, and made it resemble what an LS chamber looks like.
Yeah.
Because they're such an efficient cylinder head that we wanted to recreate that into a Corolla engine.
Yeah.
But
But if you're billing at even modestly $100 an hour,
how do I charge someone
50 hours,
$5,000?
mate.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right.
So, said WRX heads on the go for a customer.
Oh yeah, nice.
Once again, they'll be stripped, clean, CNC port program through them, the whole lot. Another set of Nathan Higgins, his 6-bolt cylinder head. We see how it's got the lumps hanging off the top.
Yes,
So that's a 6-bolt head.
Beautiful.
So that's for the engine in the room.
Yep.
This is a big block Chev that we've set up, and we're just doing some
It's
rocket
just
check.
physically big,
They're
eh?
big.
They're just a big
big
engine, man.
donkeys.
Yeah.
So
Yes. But the boat racing's massive, right?
yeah, and those Hemis are for boats, like the Dodgers
Oh
downstairs.
my
Nascar stuff.
goodness. Hello. So what happened there?
It sucked a Zeus clip from the airbox. So it's in an old Rolt. I don't know whether you know the old Pi electric car. So it was a Rolt from back in the 80s, historic circuit car.
Yeah.
We'd done the engine a while ago, back in I think 15 I did it. And then it's got Zeus clips that hold the airbox on the side of it.
Yes.
And it sucked the Zeus clip straight through the Weber and ingested it in the engine
Oh no.
and destroyed it.
And it's a Cosworth head.
BDA Cosworth, yep.
Oh.
Yep.
So that's never to be.
Nope, there's a new one sitting on my flow bench now. We're just doing some development on.
So it's like if it was, you theoretically could add material, but you just would. There'd be just millions of
It's
hours.
like there's all the guide bosses broken out, everything's broken out of it. So
just wouldn't do it.
if we couldn't get one, you could. But the trouble with heating and with welding them is they soften. Like I spoke with the two over there.
yes, yeah.
The
So
more you weld it, the more it softens it, the more you run into other issues later on.
Yeah.
So to reheat treat it means you've got to take every single bit of steel out of the whole engine. So every insert, every valve guide, everything has to be stripped out of it to be able to reheat treat it again. So cost effective, it's very, very big.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, mate.
Yeah.
Poor thing. Poor little Cozzy. Do you sometimes look at these engines and go, what was the engineer thinking when they've sort of designed
This one's killer. Like
This is the way it should be designed,
This is
right?
like, yeah, amazing. Yeah.
So where's the LS head?
So an LS head would be. So if we put an LS head right there. So
Excellent.
this is a
So
factory
what-
based.
So what's better? Just to describe to me, what am I looking at that's better? Why is it better?
Valve angle.
Yes.
So when you look down a port and you can see the whole back of the valve,
Yeah.
that's when you know you've got a gangster engine.
Sick.
So
All right.
and that's why you look at Jap engines, they work because of the valve angle coming in.
Yeah.
But because of V8 is the shape of the engine, it's hard to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you can look down there and you see that whole back of it, that's when you know you're on some good stuff.
Because the air's flowing in a straight line.
Correct. Yeah, you can try and get it. Yeah, the less turn you can do, the better it's going to. You want a shot straight at the back of the valve.
Sick.
So if we
Yep.
see that, that would sit on an engine like
Like that. So
and
the
when you look
injector's up
down
here,
there,
I
you're
can
seeing
see it.
straight to the back of the valve.
That's it, man. Sick. Whereas an LS, it's turning a corner. I can
Correct,
see that already.
So the LS doesn't have as great an angle
Yeah.
coming through, so it's got a lot more downturn to
I
it
can
there.
see it. Yeah.
So you're missing the back side of this area, whereas on
Yeah.
that one you can see pretty much all the way around.
It's almost a right hand.
And
it's
these
a different
are
shape, right?
And these are like an LS. Once again, is a very good head from factory. If we had a small block Chevy cylinder head here, that would show how bad cylinder heads could be, because they're good, but they're nowhere near as good as what an LS is. Yeah.
Tell me about starting out into engines. What got you started?
So my father was a mechanic. So I used to go to his workshop when I was 4 years old until I got a full-time job. Every Saturday I was pretty much there. When we weren't away ski racing, I'd be with him at workshop.
Yep.
Loved going there, hated working on cars. I'd find a carburetor to tinker with, or an engine or something like that, and just play around and do things. I hated the whinging customers that, he'd do a set of brake pads and they whinging that their washer bottle was empty or something like that. So
Yes.
and it was Dad that suggested to me. He said, don't become a mechanic, become an engine reconditioner. I did work experience at an engine shop at Granville called JB Performance back in the day, which was one of the sort of the elite shops in Sydney. So I did work experience there when I was in year 10 at school. And on my second day, they offered me a full-time job. So I went back to school, I think, for 2 or 3 weeks until the day I could leave, and walked out of there. And I stayed there for 12 years. I started there as a first-year apprentice, and by the time I left there, I was running the whole shop for them.
Okay.
And that just followed to suit. So I came through the trade, not being a mechanic converted engine builder. I started as an engine machinist into engine building, which in that 12 years, I think I built one engine there in 12 years.
Okay.
I was out in the workshop, machining, learn how to measure, doing all that sort of stuff. So that sort of paved the way to it, and wasn't really until I left there that I started building engines after that.
All right.
Obviously, I would get them ready, and that was what my boss at the time said to me. He goes, I need you to be able to get these in here, that I don't have to take them back out of the engine room and into the machine shop. If you get them in here right, anyone can build an engine if it's machined properly, to a way. But that was what he taught me. So now, even when I give jobs to my machinists to do for me, they know they've got to do it bang on, because they know I was the same trade as them. I was a machinist. So I'm going to pick up on what they stuff up on.
Yeah, you don't want to be sending it back.
No, time is money. And if I wash it up and spend 3 hours washing up, get it in the room, then pull it back out of here because there's a problem, and give it back to the machine, they might fix their problem, but I've still got 3 hours. I've got to fix it and clean it and wash it all up again. So it's I think coming through it that way has been a good transition for me to know how to measure and stuff. And there's a lot of engine builders out there that have started building their own engines and progressed through into time and done, learn on their engine and their mates' engines, and mate, full credit to them. There's a lot of them out there that have no trade behind them, or no engine reconditioning trade behind them. I just followed the path of having an education behind me to do it.
Nice.
Nice. So,
So when you started your own shop, what was tell me the first motor you rebuilt, or the first motor you built?
I would have to say probably one of the first ones would be a car called Hold Tight, which was a VL on the wall there actually. Big blown thing. He would have been one of the first ones to...
And that's the poster to the left.
That's the poster and the one that he's filming on the front of Street Commodores there. That would have been one of the first big cars we've done. I was lucky that I got a lot of guys jump straight on board. So I had him. I had Craig Widdett with... or Lucifer Apparel now, but the Cut Sick Mutiny. I had Marshy of I Hate Fords. I had MILF. I had all these guys that were big hitters straight onto me. So that they helped me out.
So how did you know them prior to?
So I'd worked at another engine shop previous to this, and some of them, got to know me through them getting their machining done, their engines done there. Also, I was doing work for them of a night time, so I've always done work outside of work. So as soon as a lot of people knew that I opened my door, it just followed to suit.
Beautiful. I love that. I love that.
So
most of you, what give you the percentages and the different manufacturers? What percentage you reckon's LS?
I would say my business at the moment would be 95% LS based engines.
Yep. Is that just a availability thing, price thing?
I've chosen to run that way because I have my engine side of things, but over the last 2 years we've ramped up our parts side of the business as well. So by buying more parts myself meant I could then offset and have stock here ready to go to sell to other shops. So now the business has changed a lot over the last 3 years to, well, one, we were only maybe doing one invoice a week or two. Now my wife might be doing 30, 40, 50 invoices a day.
Wow.
So
You need to give her a raise.
I know. She's a school teacher. She's a school teacher who took up, following my dream, which, so she's given up her job to be my business partner in this, which, I can't thank her enough for what she does for me. But, that was a transition of, I guess, not doing so many personal guys now, like one-off guys, to now we're doing more other performance shop works for other shops, and my parts side of things now we're also selling back to my wholesalers. So I might be buying one brand off my wholesale, but then I'm selling stuff back to my wholesalers of other brands we're distributing. So the whole business is it's changing every day.
Absolutely.
I didn't think it'd go that way. I just wanted to come and put engines together. But I'm enjoying the way it's heading. I'm enjoying the path it's going. The whole part side of things is, I enjoy that because I like getting the phone calls from my customers afterwards saying, hey man, I bought that cam package off you and we're making 450 horsepower at the back wheels. It's great. And they're happy. I'm happy.
Yeah.
I then sell more camshafts, which then helps out Kelford and, vice versa and all the other guys. So it's been good, doing work with the guys like More Power in South Australia, who are the Walkinshaw guys, How Performance in Tasmania, who are a Walkinshaw guy, the guys, shops in Queensland we're doing, Luke down at LS Tuning, Victoria, MPW, all these other shops that we're sort of doing stuff for now was like, that was a pipe dream 3 or 4 years ago to think that we'd be doing stuff with what was elite shops in Australia. You looked up to them, they're like, man, they're like big shops, and now we're mixing business with them. It was just like, this is cool. Yeah.
Love that. Absolutely love that.
Yeah.
All right, so I give you an unlimited budget, all right?
Yep.
Money's no object. Let's say we park a VL on here because we're talking VLs.
Yep.
Money's no object, mate. I'm a Saudi prince, and I want the best motor in that car. What are you building me?
Are we building like all that horsepower?
Whatever. All right. So
Okay.
I want one for drag, and then I want one as like a power cruise car.
Yep. Okay.
And then I want one as a street car. What are you building me for drag?
Okay. Drag, you wouldn't go past like a Pro Line type Hemi or something along the lines of that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Or straight to that. You wouldn't
Straight
bother.
into it.
Wouldn't bother with an LS. Wouldn't bother with big block. You'd just be straight into a Hemi based configuration or a Pro Line 481.
So that Pro Line, is that blue VK?
So Proline they make their own parts, but it's based off a 481X engine, Hemi / big block sort of configuration all rolled into one.
Yeah.
The ultimate. Yeah, that's what you'll see. Like a lot of the fast pro mods and radial cars and stuff running are all running Proline.
All right.
engines.
I'm pretty sure at Jamboree this blue VK ran a 5.
Yep,
Right.
yep.
Like 6s are crazy quick. This blue VK gets on the line and goes 5 seconds.
Yep,
Right? And
yep.
it's a steel body thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm just like, what is this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was a Pro Line
Yeah.
car, and I'm pretty sure they flew out from the States.
So that might have been Jet Martin's car, was it? Or something?
Must have been, man. Yeah, I'll have to look it up. And I think if they flew out from the States, I'll have to edit all this out if it's wrong, just to dial it all in for
Yep.
them. And it's like a $50,000 motor,
Oh,
right?
minimum. That'd be close to probably. I'd be saying 150 grand.
Oh.
Yeah. So that would be the ultimate drag engine. If it was a power cruise type combo, realistically, you can't go past a blown alcohol LS. Like,
Okay.
To
Yeah.
be honest, man, they'll bang tyres all day. They're reliable. They'll last. A skid car, we do the likes of, so from day dot we've always done fuck that's little 1200.
Sick. Yeah, do you guys do that, do you?
He's a
That's
really
mad.
good. He's
Yeah.
a really good customer of ours.
Yeah.
He had some issues before he come to us, and now he's such a good customer. I don't see him because the engine just stays in there.
Right.
But those boys, him and Denny, with fuck yeah. So I don't do Denny's engine, but Denny does all my towing and stuff around for me. Those boys will complain they've always got too much power. They don't need that much power for what they're trying to do. So
Now I'm building I just want let's say, what about an LX coupe that I just want to throw the family in on a Sunday and I just want to go for my drives, bit of power behind it, just a cool cruiser. What are you building me?
I would build a 403Q based LS configuration, so using a factory block, factory cylinder head, 650 horsepower, carbureted or EFI, under bonnet, pull up anywhere, cops don't look at you, stop, get ice cream with the kids in the car, or I'd put an LSA in it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we had a customer, H Krusty. I don't know whether you know that. It was a HK wagon.
Yeah.
Patina looking bucket of crap on the outside. Ran 9s, but his wife could drive it every Sunday. They lived down in Nowra and they just drive it everywhere they wanted to and not get hassled at all. Fully engineered with a 650 rear wheel horsepower. Away you go. So
Beautiful.
they would be the two options: 400 cube or an LSA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought we got that one, mate. What happened here? You've turned it on extra. You said.
Was it on this wall?
Make me walk up the stairs, mate.
Still filming. I'm still filming.
Yeah, so as you see, this comes with the mill.
Yeah.
And then there's a red machine.
Yeah, got it.
Yep.
Sick. So what would you? So what? Give me the most, or give me a couple of, or anything you want in terms of like the most interesting or the most memorable engine that you've built.
Most memorable engine would be. I don't even know, to be quite honest. Shit, I don't know. That's a good one for me.
Yeah, I'll let you ponder on
most
that.
memorable, most memorable, like an achievement that I felt happy with was sorting out Steve Smith's Mustang engine from Queensland, which is a green Fox body Mustang.
Yeah.
Fluoro green thing. It had some issues, and it was good to resolve those issues. Make some good power on the dyno. We're now doing some upgrades to it to chase more power, but that was good that it had some issues coming in here, and I found some stuff when I was putting together that I never thought I would find in an engine. So it sticks in the back of my mind, and it's followed to suit onto other engines to look for those problems completely on other people's engines, other configurations. Even at a mate's house the other day, he was putting an engine together, and I said, "Look at this," and he found the same problem I found. So that was a memorable deal to find those problems.
Yeah.
And moved into other engines as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Challenges you, right?
Yeah,
It sort of takes you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. This had one certain problem, and I kept thinking I'd found it the whole way through the engine. But I hadn't found it until the very last minute. Yeah. So it was that's definitely memorable. And knowing that it went straight back on the dyno, and I was nowhere near to be seen near the engine or whatever, and it still went out and made like 2,400 horsepower.
Oh man, yeah.
Getting the car to hook up and doing a lot of things now is their challenge. But yeah, the engine side of things was perfect. Yeah,
Sick.
Yeah, so that's
Love
definitely
that.
memorable. Yeah.
Beautiful, man. I know you've loved coming down to his workshop and checking it out. Troy's given us so much of his time. Troy, thanks, mate.
No worries. Thanks for coming down.
Legend.
That wraps up this episode. Thanks so much for watching.